11, my exposure time at 5 seconds looks too light, right? At 10 seconds, it's still a little light. 15 looks pretty good. 20 is starting to look a little dark. 25 is certainly way too dark, right? It's sort of losing a lot of detail there. So I'm thinking somewhere in between 10 and 15 here. Maybe 12, maybe 13. Let's do 12 seconds. See, this is a little light. I think this is a little dark here. I keep wetting it. Can you see how dark it gets when it's wet too, compared to dry? Don't squeeze your hand. 5, 10, 15, 20, I guess 25 was that last one. This was the test strip at F8, right? And it's funny, remember how I said, boy, that 5 seconds looks pretty good, but it might be 4, maybe 3, I don't know. So you can't tell from this test strip what your best exposure is. Well, we're gonna go for this exposure, yeah. Just 12 seconds. Can you see that this is about the same, right there? Because 5, 10, a little bit more, yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do 12. Let's do 12. That's what I said. 12. Let's go make a 12-second exposure. Okay, so come on back in. I want to just make sure that you're doing this right. It's not bad to have a marker with you. So what I like to do with the marker is write down my exposure time on the back of my piece of paper, and my aperture, and my enlarger number. And the reason why is because each enlarger, oh, and the height of the enlarger. Each enlarger has a slightly different amount of light that comes out of it for whatever reason. And also, each height, each change in enlarger height you do is going to change the amount of light striking paper at any point in the paper. So here I have an enlarger height of 22 inches. So I'm going to write that down in the back. 22 inches. We're going to do a 12-second exposure at F11. And this is enlarger 10. Enlarger 10. So now I know how to replicate this in the future if I want to.
Is it always F11 or no?
No, that's just, I tried F8 first. Okay. Remember, that first test strip was F8, and it just, the best exposure was 5 seconds. I didn't trust it, so I wanted to make it fun. Okay, so you write down what you're going to do on the back of the paper. Now you take this paper, and you put it in your easel. Actually, before you put your paper in your easel, you want to make sure that nothing's changed. Somebody might have come along and bumped into your enlarger. Somebody might have thought you weren't working there and taken, who knows? Check before you stick your whole piece of paper in that everything's the way you left it. Okay? I also like to make sure that my images are square, meaning that my easel's not like this. Okay. Right? You might like that. Let's try getting them square first. So to get an image square, you really want to make sure that there's an even border around the edges, that it's not crooked. Okay, so once you have that, you turn your enlarger off, you turn your enlarger to time, you turn your time to the correct time. We said 13, 12, whatever. Paper shiny side up. To put your paper into your easel and make sure that it's square, what you're going to do is push your paper up against these little ridges that stick up. See there's 4 little bumps around the outside? You just take your paper and you slide it up against them. Close your easel. Then you're ready to print. Turn your timer on. I like to look at my timer arm as it starts to make sure that I didn't forget to switch it off of focus. And then you can just switch it on to time really fast if you did forget. So, exposure's done. Throw in the developer. And this time, you really do want to process it fully. So I'm going to let this stay in the developer for a full minute and looks like I missed a little bit. See how this border is thicker than that border? Not terrible. Not bad for a first shot. You know, so what I do is I go back and slide my easel a little bit so that there's less space above and a little more space below. No, I don't like trimming paper. People do trim paper. I'm not pro paper trimming. Okay, so that was about a minute and change at this point, I think. Looking pretty good. So, with a full print, you really want to let it drip for a while. Let it drip for 10 seconds or so. Let all that developer drip off because we don't want to carry it into the next tray and exhaust our stop. Okay, so I drip that off a little bit, put it in my stop. I'm going to leave it in there for 30 seconds. Okay, and then into the fix for 4 minutes. Fix, by the way, works, as we saw, in about a minute, right? And those test strips that I put in here for a minute are stable out there for the duration of class. But they're going to slowly brown and slowly darken over the course of weeks because there's still silver salts in those test strips that are going to slowly darken. You really want to make sure that you fix your print for longer. You can skimp on your test strip fixing, but not on your prints. That said, if you want to see how your print looks,